And then not just on the sales side, but then also you kind of the first domino is you need demand gen, right? You don't have sales just completely cold calling. So how important is that kind of demand gen function? And do you consider kind of outsourcing that or kind of having it inside?
Yeah, no, it's got to be inside. That's one of the rules of this annealing process. You cannot entrust that because you're still figuring it out, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, forget about the cost of outsourcing it to somebody else. If I hand it to somebody else, quite frankly, they're not going to know the questions to ask. They're not going to be able to listen as acutely as we are, the true subject matter experts. And it's those early conversations, it's those early A/B testing that you do with whatever kind of advertising, that you are doing, right? It's and again, this has always been kind of a hallmark of my career in doing these early stage businesses. Event-based marketing is critical, right? Because, if you're selling to elephants, go to the big watering hole where they're at. I mean, I'm here today outside of Washington, D.C. at National Harbor at the Gartner Security Conference. Why? Because there's 5,000, security executives that are here attending this conference. And then there's 1,000 of the key partners that we want to be able to deal with. And so you come here, you talk to people, you go out to the cocktail parties, you listen to what they have to say, you come back every day with the team, you sort of trade and compare notes and sort of zero in on, yep, that's exactly right. Let's go get that new feature, moved up in the priority list because we heard 6 people tell us that they want that new green widget, right?
Awesome. And I should have mentioned before, I got totally sucked in here in a good way. But anybody that wants to ask any questions or make any comments along the way, as always, please feel free. So back on the demand gen, so you said your ideal persona is really that CISO. So
CSO, Chief Security Officer.
Okay, Chief Security Officer. So so those you can kind of list manage pretty well. So ideas and kind of how do you get access to them? Do you do a mix of cold calling and emails and reach outs and tagging LinkedIn and different things like that? Or kind of what have you found most effective?
2 things. I mean, first of all, LinkedIn is a wonderful community environment. I mean, it's sort of where we hang out. I mean, it's the 24/7 showroom. It's the 24/7 trade show, right? Yeah. And so, we find LinkedIn to be highly effective. We have a lot of love for LinkedIn. Number 2, given the nature of what we do, it's a relatively small community. Part of the, ideal customer profile, many of these chief security officers are former law enforcement or military counterintelligence, defense and intelligence counterintel people. And so there is a steady stream of fantastic people that retire from public service in their early to mid 50s or so. And so we've been working with some very, very select folks that come from that world that are extremely well connected into those networks. So former FBI, former Secret Service, former, intelligence agency, where their former colleagues, they worked at the agency for 25 years and now they're working for mega company XYZ, right? And so being able to come in with a very, very warm, and genuine introduction is the preferred approach. But then, again, yes, we do cold call. We do, reach out via email. We try to do our best to get an audience, because we also operate to a principle that I coined this term years ago, AIE, awareness, interest, engagement. I mean, I need to make awareness we do from a demand gen perspective. Just understand that Red Vector's here. We do this type of technology. We solve these sorts of problems. Hopefully somebody gets interested, and then hopefully they say, well, I'd like to learn more. And then that starts to move us towards engagement.
Awesome. And then what about kind of being earlier stage company in terms of your kind of RevOps tech stack? Are there any things, and obviously LinkedIn, but kind of any other kind of tools that you like?
Yeah, well, I mean, again, you've probably heard this, for years and years and years. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it, right? And so again, it's back to the world of sports. It's it's Moneyball. It's statistics. You need to know what you're doing. You need to be able to quantify it. So Salesforce is our system of record, right? That's where and we our RevOps, we have a code name for it internally called switchboard. Right. It's like the old switchboard where the, operator plugs in all the different plugs. Yeah. So Salesforce is the hub. And then connecting into that is Zoom Info. Connecting into that is HubSpot. Connecting into that is LinkedIn. Connecting into that are other, tools that we use to, focus on accounts and contacts. Right. And then, follow the process. We, one of the things I didn't mention, I'm a terrible but avid golfer. And so we have a forecasting system, very, very simple. Commit, CTTP, closest to the pin, right? And the question always there, is it a one putt, or you better not three putt it, but even if you do three putt it, the ball can't roll off the green. Best case or potential. That's where it's at, right? And then you put a probability on there so you can get a weighted forecast, so you get a sense of what's going to happen or not. And so Salesforce is, Salesforce is perfect for that. But then ultimately, probably the best sales tool of them all for me, as a leader, is Excel, because then I can pull it into Excel and do what I need to do with it. And maybe the adjunct app is PowerPoint. Move the data over to PowerPoint and share it with the team, share it with the investors.
There you go. Awesome. So before we move on, anything else that's top of mind, talking about getting to 10 million AR in early markets?
I mean, that's it's part of the fun of this. It's the daily, it's the daily battle. It's the daily, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, right? I mean, we, every day, you get the, the positivity and the rewards when people, understand what your solution does. They envision themselves wanting to do it. You go through and again, this is very much, I call it kind of almost a community sell. There's not one particular person that buys this. Yeah. It requires approvals and understandings across a, range of different, personas and folks, which is fun because you get to meet these people that are in these different roles in these different businesses and industries. But yet they all share, many of the same common problems. So, it's execution. It's back to sports. You got to show up, right? You got to throw the pitches and you got to hit the balls.
Awesome. And it sounded exciting. I think last week you had Rep. Chrissy Houlihan come by and visit.
We did. That was very exciting for us. So our local congressional representative, Representative Houlihan, first of all, she's the senior ranking member, minority member on the House Committee for Intelligence, as well as she is a member on the House Committee for Armed Services. So she's right in the middle of, our DOD and IC marketplace. Extremely, extremely sharp, individual, Stanford degree. She served in the Air Force. She came in and she was, probably more attuned to what we do than some of the top Fortune 10 companies that we deal with. But, as a really, fantastic politician, she understands, the value. We fit all of her key priorities: small entrepreneurial business, national security, health and wellness, veterans. I mean, we make a special point to try to find folks that have served in the services or in public service. And so, she, I believe, is going to be very helpful in helping us sort of navigate the ins and outs of the Washington circuit, so to speak. And we hope to work with others. I mean, I think, we'll be meeting with senators and other Congress people that have an interest in this.
Awesome. Really exciting. It's so great. So maybe last question for you here. What advice would you give your younger self?
Oh my gosh. What advice would I give my younger self? Watch what you eat, watch what you drink, exercise a little bit more, right? Yep. Think twice before you make some of those discretionary purchases. Look, I've been a very, very blessed person. I have, my both myself and my family. For the most part, we've had, good health. We've had some adversarial situations pop up, but you deal with them, right? And you take it one day at a time. Probably took me a little bit longer than I would have liked to learn. Just don't look back. You can't look back. It's all you just can't go back. The only direction you can go is forward, right? And so, figure out what you're going to do, tomorrow, next week, next month. Don't worry about what you did last week.
Exactly. Awesome. Great perspectives, and time flies here when you have fun. So some of the links that Tucker has here for those watching. So the Humantech AI, I think that gives you a free week. So it's really cool looking at the personality profiles of those that you're selling to. Also has a cool way to kind of re-swizzle emails to folks based on those personality profiles. You get the sales community, the book I did, and certainly join Sales Community. And special thanks to Fullcast, who's the go-to-market planning sponsor of Sales Community. And next week, Tucker, who's behind the scenes here, he's going to get married on Saturday. So I'm not going to make him work next week. So we're going to do a replay of the John McMahon podcast from, I don't know, so it's a month or so ago. So he's kind of the godfather of MedPick, and certainly had some great perspectives. And then we'll be back live in 2 weeks with Steve Hirsch, who's the CRO of Vertana. And I know that will be great. And we just had Matt chime in and say it was really informative and excellent perspective. So I totally agree, Matt. Thank you for that. So, Steve, you've been awesome. Certainly, selfishly wish you and Glenn the best with Red Vector. But sounds like you got a hot one, and look forward to watching your continued success. And obviously, in any way I can help, look forward to it.